It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening or watching. I'm glad you could join us today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant, located on beautiful St. Simons Island in Georgia. Check out his website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I travel all the way to St. Simons to get a decent pizza and an authentic Italian meal. Trust me, it's worth it. Also, today's show is being brought to us in part by, you guessed it, my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on a Plane, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can literally get a copy of this book right now while you're watching or listening to the show. Just go to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Now, if you're looking to get a signed copy, don't worry about it. Visit our website, billycboxing.com, and click on the book. Can't miss it. It's huge on the front page. So click that and follow the directions. Now, if you run into me outside of this studio or at a boxing event, ask me for a copy because I never leave home without them. I always got copies, and I'll sign it any way you want it. Right there on the spot. Anyway, today's show, we may open up the phone lines a little bit later. Don't call until we open them up because we're not going to accept any calls till we open it. But, that World Boxing Super Series is really heating up. And they have pretty much everyone in it listed already, with the exception of one slot that they're waiting for a fight outcome between Chris Eubank Jr. and Arthur Abraham. They get the final spot in the super middleweight division. But the one thing that I really notice about that, and I'm really into it. See, I love these tournaments, right? But in the cruiserweight division, you got some really good competitors. We have been talking about all the fighters there, and they've added some other fighters in the cruiserweight division, including former heavyweight top 10 contender Mike Perez. So he gets added along with 9 undefeated fighters, and total 9 undefeated fighters and 5 world champions and 3 former world champions. So I'm looking forward to that. And Vili Yildirim is the other one. Now in the super middleweight division, you got George Groves, Callum Smith, Jürgen Brammer, Eric Skokeland, Jamie Cox, and like I said, Yildirim, along with Rob Brandt. And then the winner of Chris Eubank Jr. and Arthur Abraham gets a final spot. But here's the one thing. Now I love it. I love the way the way they're going to pick it. They're going to seed the fighters, right? And then the top seeds are going to get to pick their opponents, which is going to be interesting. Sal and I talked about that last week. But the thing that I notice about this whole World's Boxing Super Series, there's no Americans in there. And it goes to show you something that we talk about a lot on this show. The desire to prove that you're the best in your division. seeking out challenges, thinking outside the box, stepping up and fighting someone just to show you're the better, rather than try to, snake your way, ease your way into a title shot with the choice of and path of least resistance. And I can't help but think that the American fighters are more apt to take the easy way out, whereas fighters from other countries are willing to prove it inside the ring, which traditionally was the way boxing has been for hundreds of years. Joining me right now with his thoughts from St. Simon's Island is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, I know this hits home because you're very adamant both on and off the air about doing just what these other fighters from other countries are doing. You feel very strongly about proving your net worth inside the ring rather than with your mouth or with maneuvering with politics. What's your thoughts about the lack of U.S. Fighters in this tournament?
First question I was going to ask you, was that by choice, design, or what? But I can't believe it. There is not one American fighter in that whole tournament.
I think Rob Brandt might be from the U.S. And as a super middleweight, but aside from that, no.
That's amazing. You know what? That's almost an embarrassment. Now, granted, let's hypothetically look at the big picture. If you're looking to recruit top contenders, champions, this and that, for the sake of being branded with this new title or new belt, yeah, I could see where a smart fighter on that level who's already a champion or a top contender may say, you know what, I'm already here where these guys are trying to be. They've got to come and see me. Why should I bother risking? That's what I'm saying. Their thoughts process be.
Thing is this featuring fighters. So yeah, maybe that you're right. Maybe that has something to do with it. But the truth is that if I'm a fighter and I have an undefeated record, and the thing I like about this tournament, Sal, is that it is featuring a lot of fighters that have either undefeated records or once beaten or former champions or current champions, and they're all risking those titles and those O's, so to speak, to fight in this tournament. And remember, there's no cherry picking going on with these tournaments. Aside from that first round where the top seeds are going to pick their opponents, then you fight the next guy. I mean, you're picking, and we talked about this last week. How do you choose? Do you pick the toughest one? Do you pick the one that you think is the easiest? Does that become fuel for your opponent, saying, "Oh, he thinks I'm going to be an easy out"? I mean, there's a lot of variables here that I think is really interesting. The seeding and everything is taking place, I believe, next week. So I'm excited. I think that this World Boxing Super Series really is a super series.
Well, I think you are 100% right, and I'm excited about it as well. And the whole process. Don't misunderstand me when I was saying earlier. I think that a lot of the domestic fighters from the United States and their managers, promoters, they would look at this, as I was trying to say, if they're already in a top contender, if they're a top contender or they are a world champion, they're looking at, well, why should I risk my record, my credibility, or if they're undefeated in a tournament when they want to feel they could be leveraged for things for that title or for a fight. That's my only thought is how they're thinking. Because if I had an open invitation to a tournament, I felt I was a world beater, and I had a challenge. I'd like to rise to the occasion and do that and show everybody. I mean, I love the whole idea of the brackets and all that. I'm not so crazy about the first round fighters choosing their fighters, but I thought there might have been another alternative way they could have maybe did that first round, but it still it is what it is. And tournaments are great. I love tournaments. And I whether it's a state, national, world. I mean, it's a real neat thing on a world stage. And you said another thing too. Since there's a lot of apathy from a domestic United States fighter, don't forget we had many opportunities in the earlier decades when boxing was in our living rooms and talks and everything else, when we had all of our Olympians that came home with gold medals, and then they were showcased, and then they fought on the public TV, and they were followed, and it built a fan base following and starring from the '76 Olympic team to the '84 Olympic team. These were shots in the arm for boxing when we had strong national Olympic champions that came over, and then everyone wanted to follow their pro debut. And I think that was the last great generation of domestic fighters. I mean, according to even the Hearns, the Leonards, everything here, they were household names. And once the Soviet bloc countries opened up their gates and allowed their communistic boxers represent their country, it opened the floodgates to a great volume of people that are capable of fighting, and have shown us through the last couple of decades that they are world-class world champions. And that's what's thrown in the mix to dilute the domestic fighter that we followed and from childhood here. I think there's some credence in what I say. I'm not saying it's 100%, but it really opened up the world floodgates and diluted a lot of what we have in the domestic arena right underneath our feet.
Well, I'm still stuck on your comment about, maybe some of the U.S. fighters are waiting for their shot at a title or biding their time. But here's the thing.
Well, I think you are. I think they are.
Oh, yeah, but listen, here's the thing. In these weight classes, most of the fighters are champions. They're the champions. They're the guys that would be the ones if they were American. And I hate to say it, obviously, because I'm American. But if they were Americans, I wonder if they would be taking that risk. What it shows me is if you're a world champion currently, like Usyk and these guys that are in this tournament in the cruiserweight and super middleweight division, George Groves, for example, in the super middleweight division, if you're a champion and you're willing to enter into this tournament knowing that you're going to risk that title, unless they're non-title affair, unless they're non-title bouts, which I'm not 100% sure, but still, if you're going to risk your which everybody's so high on today, that tells me something. That tells me that these fighters are not only trying to win this tournament, but they're trying to prove that they're the best in their weight division. And I respect that. I think that that's the only way. I mean, in today's world of boxing, where we have a plethora of world title belts and sanctioning bodies and ranking systems and this and that and the other thing, where everybody could pound their chest and say they're ranked number one, they're the world champion, they're this, they're that, one of many, what you have in a tournament like this, you say, okay, hey, everybody, let's take your trinket, we call it a title belt, let's take that trinket and put it all on the line, and when the smoke clears, the best of the best is going to rise to the top. And that's what I like. I commend these guys for taking the risk of proving, they're taking the risk to prove that they are the best in these divisions. And I respect that immensely, Sal. And if you're right, and I'm not suggesting you're wrong, but if you're right that a lot of these American fighters that might be in a position because of the sanctioning body that they're the next in line for a title, if they're avoiding this tournament because of that, what does that tell you? I mean, if you're the manager and you're afraid to put your fighter in, I mean, let's assume that the fighters, to be a fighter, most fighters will fight anybody. It's the management team, whether it be the promoter or the manager or the trainer, that, they're the ones that try to guide the fighter. So, I mean, what does that tell you if you're a fighter thinking that you can kick the crap out of anybody in your weight division and your manager's holding you back? It's like a racehorse that he's dying to run out in the front, but the jockey is keep pulling him back, and don't run too fast. You might hurt your leg. So I mean, I don't know, man. That's the way I'm looking at it, brother.
No, I think you're onto some meat on the bone there, Bill. I think you're right on that level. And as I said, and that has me guessing that possibly with some of the other world champions or world contenders, maybe there's something in there that's not going to change their status with the current belt, with the current thing. If this is just for an additional I guess trinket or world title or some type of notoriety that's going to booster some of the unknowns, but also reinforce some of the proven, horses.
Wait. Let me interrupt you because number one, they are giving away a title. They're calling it the Muhammad Ali Trophy, but the WBC just added their diamond-studded belt to the winners as well. And the thing is that these guys, these competitors that have already accepted the invitation, they're not just they're not on the rise. These are already world title holders or former title holders or top one, top three, right? So I mean, and that's what makes it really good. They're already proven.
Yes.
I love the prize fighters series that they had in England, and what that was the complete opposite. That was taking, maybe not as well-known fighters, younger fighters, and putting them in a tournament, which incidentally was all done in the same night, which I even like better. And then the guy who wins that trophy at the end, his career gets catapulted. Now, we did see a collection of former stars, fight in there and do well, but we also saw a lot of young fighters too. So that was a different tournament. This one seems to definitely have the creme de la creme. But listen, hold on to that thought, even though I was rambling on. But let me take a short break, and when we come back, we can finish that. We got some other boxing news. I got a bunch of emails to read. All of that in about 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. And just before we went to break, we've been talking about the World Boxing Super Series. And I'm here with my man Sal Rocky Sanacola. And Sal, you know, I can't help but think that the lack of American fighters isn't just... Well, listen, in all due respect, most of the champions in both of these weight divisions, super middleweight and cruiserweight, are outside the U.S. because of the popularity of both divisions. Seemingly are more popular outside the U.S. But with that said, I think that the truth of the matter is that I think that some of these fighters that are on the cusp, or like you suggested earlier, that may be in line for a title shot, should have really tried to get into this tournament. The lack of U.S. fighters, it has me puzzled, and I hope it's just coincidental and not a maneuvering move or a strategic move on behalf of the U.S. Fighters management.
Well, you know, boxing on some levels is like a chess game. And when you're looking to move forward or promote your star fighter, either from a manager standpoint or promoter standpoint, you want to ride that horse. You want to position him, leverage him, because he's a commodity, the old chicken for our days, and you got to maximize what he does when he does it for as long as you can. And possibly, I'm just saying possibly, you know, some of our domestic fighters or contenders or champions, you know, say, well, what do I have to really gain from this where I might have something to lose? Where they're, you know, looking at the chessboard and saying, well, we're already positioned here and we're going to get this fight there. Why jeopardize it losing it against an unknown entity or somebody that we're not really familiar with? Especially when you look at how fighters wind up making fights. Between the promoters, the managers, they have an idea to look at the style of who they're going to fight and how they're going to fight. They have 8 weeks or so to prepare for that style of opposition they're going to face. It's not like a tournament where you're putting together in brackets and everything else. You know, I'm not fully aware of the whole rules, regulations, and the time lapse between fights with this tournament, but I am definitely looking to learn more about it. Sounds exciting, and all I'm saying is possibly the domestic fighter here does not want to move their leverage or change their leverage of where they could be.
No.
Or where they are.
No.
That's all.
What it seems to me is they don't want to leave their comfort zone. And that's my problem.
No, you're right. You're
that's
right.
my problem.
100% right.
That's my problem, Sal.
That's my problem, too. Because, you know, you should be a badass. You want to face everybody and fight. I mean, ESPN years ago, I know they had a tournament. They had like a national or world kind of tournament and stage where they showcased a lot of contenders. I mean, I think there was an Iran Barkley involved there.
Well, there was one.
James
there was one.
Broad.
Listen, there was one since then, the Boxino tournament, and you know we had the Super Six tournament. You know, and a lot of them good. But here's the thing. And by the way, that's where Andre Ward. You know,
that's right. Super Six.
You know, he won the Super Six. But you know, the truth of the matter is that it's just alarming to me that the U.S. fighters don't want to leave their comfort zone, and just exactly what you said, the reasons you gave, you know, it bothers me the most. Oh well, maybe they don't, maybe they're not comfortable fighting a guy that they're not sure of. Well, that's the beauty of a tournament and the style of it, because you know you sit there and you're like, okay, well you win this first fight. Now, who am I going to fight in the next one? Now, granted, you are going to have, unlike the prize fighter series that you're fighting the same night. At least this tournament's going to give them ample time to prepare for their opponent. All right, they'll know who their opponent is beforehand, but they won't be able to cherry pick the opponent. And when you look at the names and the levels of these fighters that are in this tournament, there are no easy fights. There are no easy matchups. And you said before that you don't like the fact that the two top seeds are going to be able to pick their opponents. It is unorthodox to do that. But I think it opens up. I think it's harder. I really think it's harder for those guys that are going to have to pick the guy they want to fight first, because because listen, it's just like I used the analogy and comparison when we were talking about this last week. It's like back in the day in gym class. Two guys get picked as the captain, and now they got to pick the rest of their teams, and you're sitting there. I want this guy, that guy, and as they're picking, you don't want to be the last one. You don't want to be that guy that oh God, all right, yeah, we'll take Joey. I was stuck with Joey. Joey. And if you're a fighter, and a guy picks you first, well, all of a sudden, that's got to fuel the fire. That's got to say, whoa, this guy thinks he's going to beat my ass easy. And that's got to, make him train harder. Listen, I love this tournament, and I can't wait for it. Hey, listen, the WBC jumped on board. Idea. They're throwing their belt in the mix. They don't want to have anything successful without them included. So it is what it is. I think this is going to be successful, and I like it. And out of all the names that have been now announced for being in this tournament already, the guy that I'm looking most forward to be honest with you, is Mike Perez, the guy that used to be a heavyweight contender. His record is 22 wins, 2 losses, and a draw with 14 knockouts. This is a talented Cuban fighter that his discipline and his lack of desire has hurt him as a heavyweight. But for him to go, and he was weighing way over 200 pounds, and now he's come in, he's lost weight, and he's going to be fighting at the cruiserweight limit of 200. So I'm excited to see this guy. We might finally see him at his best, Sal, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I think that's a great point, and you know what? He's challenging himself, and he's looking at the opportunities and the opportunity he's given right now. So, yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think it's great, and I would throw my hat in the ring and say, yeah, let's join on board and fight whoever we have, and that's it. And when you are, growing up, Bill, that was a whole excitement. When you often say what today's fighters seem to lack. Is the fact that they're historians about the sport of boxing. And, when we were growing up, in our era, from the parlor talk and all the other stuff, we would research, we would look at the first bare knucklers. And I'm telling you, this was my progression into world-class fighting, and I loved it. You learn about the bare knuckle days. You send away for a book called Nat Fleischer, How to Box, whatever it was.
Tom Molyneux. You send away for that book, Tom Molyneux from Bondage.
Absolutely. Yes, you do. Yeah,
how far did you
get?
I'm
talking about 30, 40 years ago.
How far did you get?
You didn't write it then.
How far did you get in the book so far, Sal?
I'm finished the first chapter.
You're so full of what. You haven't even opened it.
It's a short read.
You busted my chops about that book so much. Yeah, I think you got 9 copies of the damn thing.
Look at it. It's right there.
Yeah.
See, well,
maybe you should take it off of there and open it up. Come on.
I'm gonna clear the dust and I'm gonna read it this weekend.
Yeah. Anyway,
and we will narrate. I will talk about it because I definitely, from what I've read and what I do, it is a quick read. It's a nice, exciting book, and I give you a lot of credit.
150 pages. You should do that after. Hey, you want to know something? Just off topic, and then we're going to take a break, and I'll read some emails. But yesterday, I don't know if we were talking about it or not. I was talking to a lot of people, but in case you guys missed it, on 4th of July, Coney Island has the Nathan's Hot Dog eating contest. And Joey Chestnut.
I missed it. I missed it this year.
All right. Well, listen. Joey Chestnut, who won it last year, broke his own record. Last year, he ate 70 hot dogs, I believe, and this year, 72 hot dogs. All right.
Oh.
So listen. There's nothing like a Nathan's hot dog. I like Hebrew National and Nathan's. Those are like the two I'll eat.
Two favorite.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
listen, I just don't feel comfortable. If I just feel like it's better to eat, all beef, lips and tongues and ears and body parts than, not knowing if it's, pork or chicken or beef, So I stick with the all beef. But anyway, my point is this. Yesterday, I was in the mood for, after seeing all these hot dogs. I was in the mood for hot dogs, right? So I ate. Now I'm trying not to eat bread. Bread is my enemy. So I ate four. Four? I ate four.
You ate 4 dogs?
They were Hebrew National. Not that I'm plugging
4
them,
dogs
but
7 years ago.
4 dogs and 7 years ago. I had 4 hot dogs and some other stuff with dinner. Well, this morning, when I was in the old throne, sitting on the throne, I'm saying to myself, "Oh my God!"
Or mustard?
I'm saying to myself, "No, I didn't. I'm not a big sauerkraut fan, but I'm sitting there going, oh my God, and I had to make a couple of trips in there, and all of a sudden I couldn't help but think." Joey Chestnut, 72 hot dogs. What the hell? What does he have to do? What does he have to do? Spend a week in there? I mean, I can't imagine the pain that this guy might be going through. 72 hot dogs, Sal. I mean, that's a lot of hot dogs.
Quick math.
Oh my God!
What are these hot dogs? I'm sorry to interrupt. What do these hot dogs weigh? 4 to 6 ounces each, 3 ounces each.
It's a regular hot dog, a standard hot dog.
I know. But what I'm saying is, what do they actually weigh? About 4 ounces?
I don't know. I don't know what they
look at 200 300 ounces. 15 to 20 pounds of hot dogs ingested in that short period of time. I mean, my concern would be, what the hell is all that sodium going to do to his body, his heart? I mean, that's a lot to assimilate, and you have your body process, no?
Listen, for sure, and
that's what I'm saying. Whoa, you're washing it down. They dip it in water and they shove it down their throat.
Yeah, and when he's shoving them down, it's like he's gagging, and they dip the roll. They dip the roll. I know, and I had 4 without the rolls, and they're eating 72 with the rolls. And they're shoving it in water,
so it slides down.
You got to see the way they're doing it. I mean, they're shoving it, and he's keeping his hand, keeping it from coming up. Oh my God! Then they're raising his hand, and you see the look on his face. And
you're like, oh my God!
And you know what they say? Remember the old commercial? I can't believe I ate the whole thing. It was the Alka-Seltzer. I can't believe I ate 72 friggin' hot dogs.
I can't believe I missed the competition.
Oh yeah,
I got stuck on watching the marathon.
And we're way over our time limit. But here's the thing: 72. Here's the best part, and I'll leave you with this: 72 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
What?
10 minutes they had to whoop them
10
down.
10 minutes?
10 minutes. I can't even eat 72 slices of pizza in 10 minutes. We'll be back. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. And I'm here with Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, we got our statisticians over in the chat room are giving us the stats on this. 3.5 ounces each for the hot dogs, 710 milligrams of sodium each. Dax figured out 9 pounds of hot dogs, but he forgot the rolls soaked in water, so we're figuring at least 15 pounds of stuff. And the other point that they're adding in the chat room,
between 15 and 20
yeah, no, I know. And then the other thing they're adding in the chat room is the funniest part is the guys that win are always these small little skinny guys. I mean, Joey Chestnut's not a little guy, but up until he won last year, this little Oriental guy was winning year after year after year. And a lot of times you see these big, heavy guys going in there ready to fight. And those guys can only throw down 20 or 30, you know. But these guys, 70 hot dogs. Oh, my God. And with that 710 milligrams of sodium per hot dog, they're lucky they didn't go into cardiac arrest, you know.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I know.
I mean, the potential. I mean, you got to get a medical clearance. You should sign a waiver before you enter that contest.
Oh my God! I mean, it's not even funny. It's dangerous, is what it is.
Well, I'm telling you, it's dangerous. It's like playing hot dog roulette.
Oh, God. Hey, in Major League Baseball, we got some scores because I got a bunch of emails to read. Hopefully, we'll have some time to open up the phone lines. I'm behind with the emails, so I apologize for that. Tigers beat the Giants 6-2. The Cardinals over the Marlins 4-3. The Brewers over the Cubbies 11-2. The Reds over the Rockies 6-3. The Pirates beat the Phillies 6-3 as well. Blue Jays beat the Astros. Astros finally lose. What a talented team that is this year. 7-4. The Blue Jays came out on top. Indians over the Padres 11-2. The Tampa Bay Rays 4-1 over the Red Sox. Twins 6-4 over the Orioles. A's beat the Mariners 7-4. The Braves beat the Nationals 5-2, and my Dodgers keep winning 5-4. You all know I'm a Mets fan, but I my second favorite team is the Dodgers, so thank God one of my teams are winning. All right, here's some emails, Sal. First one is which I want to thank my man Angel from Madison, Wisconsin, for being patient. He did send this the other day. It is a longer one. He says, "Hola, Senior C." He says, my takeaway from the Pacquiao Horn fight was that the fight was a good one to watch, especially for the fact that it was on ESPN for free and that it was held in Australia. The crowd was amazing, and it was an inclusive event and not like a Vegas bout that only allows those with the most cash to watch a match. I love to watch events held outside of Vegas, especially if it's in a different country. I would love to see a rematch, but this one has to be in Manila. We, the public, should push for a rematch, but it's in Manny's home court. As far as the fight, I didn't agree with the outcome, but I did have it close, 115-113. Horn proved he could fight and stepped up when told that the fight would be stopped. I think that credit has to be given to Horn's corner for believing in him and giving him the right advice to avoid a stoppage, so props to Horn's corner. As far as Pacquiao at 38, he can still fight, and I'm in favor of him fighting until he says no mas. He still has the ability to fight at a top level. but he's not the same Pac-Man as in the past, and to me, that's okay. I'm 39, and I wish I could fight like him and make that same amount of cash. He says Pac-Man's last knockout was in 2009 against Cotto. I think moving up in weight to fight against bigger, stronger boxers has made a knockout difficult, but he still brings it. I do think that if he wants to continue to fight, a change of his corner may be an option. I think making a change is needed, especially as he gets older. He may need to have a corner that can make the proper adjustments as he faces the younger, hungrier fighters. Just like in any other sports, sometimes a change of head coach is needed. I like Roach, but it seems like Roach is becoming, like you say, a rah-rah coach, and Manny's not being challenged. And the two have become too comfortable with each other, and thus you see Pacquiao now as a distance fighter, and that killer instinct is gone. I'd like to get your take on my opinion, especially on Pac-Man's corner. If Pacquiao continues like Hopkins, who continued to fight past in his 30s, is a change needed? If he can't get you or Sal, as his new coach, trainer, or manager, who else would you suggest? Well, thanks for the email and thanks for being patient, Angel. Personally, I have said that I thought that Freddie Roach was pretty much extinct in the corner for Pacquiao. Did not seem to be giving him any, instruction on what to do. Pacquiao did seem to fight the wrong fight, but at the end of the day, maybe he just took his opponent extremely lightly. Yesterday we had a big discussion about my theory on the possibility, especially amid all the rumors that Bob Arum actually set up this fight, and there was some agreement and disagreement on that. I just think that Manny Pacquiao, a change in corner at this stage of his career, is it really going to help him? Is he really listening to Roach? If he's not, maybe that would work. I just don't think Manny Pacquiao has much left to prove. If he wants to continue fighting because he loves to fight, I mean, you can't stop a guy from doing that. But I do think that with the exception of some of the fights we talked about, like a rematch with Mayweather that seemingly has gone out the window, maybe the only thing left for him to do is, exercise his rematch clause, fight Horn, beat Horn, then retire. Other than that, I just don't see him going after a Keith Thurman or a Kell Brook or any of these young guns. I just don't see it working for him. I don't see the need, Sal. What do you think?
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, along with the hot dog. I'm telling you right now. I appreciate those comments in the email. They were good points, but he's talking about reshaping or building the career for Manny Pacquiao. Past tense, he's already had a career. He's a Hall of Famer. It's now, how do I use these years or these last couple of fights to have my send-off or so, and the only fight now is maybe a rematch with Jeff Horn. I still believe in my heart of hearts that Manny Pacquiao's fighting above his weight division where he should fight. I believe that for a long time. I also believe that he's got nothing to prove. It's hard to get up with the incentive, and like I said, the prize is worth the price. His only purpose to coming back, I told you over and over again, I expressed myself, was to avenge his loss to Floyd Mayweather. That didn't happen. It's never going to happen. And now it just seems the only fight that he should have his sights on is to get back in the ring with Jeff Horn and prove everybody right or wrong, depending on which side of the post you're on or which side of the corner of the ring, red or blue. That's my thoughts, Bill.
Right.
That's my thoughts. He's got nothing to prove.
Well, we'll have to see. I think he is going to exercise it, but we'll see. Next email, this is from my man Dan. He says, hey, Billy C. and Sal, these young fans today drive me nuts. All they do is overreact to each and every fight. Pacquiao goes out and has one subpar performance that he deserved to win, no less, he says, and they're calling for his retirement. Unbelievable. How short are their memories? This is a guy that just beat Bradley and Vargas last year. He's still a good, entertaining fighter that makes lots of money doing what he loves. Does that sound like a guy who should retire? if fighters listened to the younger fans, Klitschko would have retired after getting knocked out by Corey Sanders. B-Hop would have retired after he lost to Taylor. And every active fighter over 30 who didn't dominate every minute of every round would be sent off to a nursing home. Luckily, these guys there's guys around like you and Sal and himself to remind these young dopes about past great fighters like Archie Moore, George Foreman, and many others who prove that just because you're closing in on 40 doesn't mean you don't have anything left. So maybe Manny's not the man he used to be. Well, neither am I. But that doesn't mean I'm ready for a rocking chair, and neither is Pacquiao. I, for one, can't wait to see him come back and schoolhorn in another fun and entertaining fight, and I wouldn't mind shelling out a few bucks to see it. Keep fighting a good fight. Thanks, Dan. And my man, Dan.
Great email.
Yeah, brings up a good point. If the fight is entertaining, you see, this is what I was saying yesterday. The thing that Manny Pacquiao does, and he continues to do, even when he comes up on the losing end, is he's in entertaining fights. Now, the entertainment factor is critical for this sport. And I think that's one of the things that, seem to have changed with the path that a lot of fighters take, I can't choose a better choice of words than cherry pick an opponent path. It leads to less than entertaining fights or a one-sided beatdown that's not too entertaining either. An entertaining fight to me is an even fight, a fight that we could disagree on who the winner's going to be or have a discussion because it was so close of who won and who lost. There's no way that the Pacquiao-Horn fight was a robbery. Although I scored it for Pacquiao, and most people that I know scored it for Pacquiao, it was close on my scorecard. So I didn't think it's a robbery. And I agree with Dan. I think a rematch is in order if Manny Pacquiao wants it. So that's what I
agree. Dan had a great email, great points. And if Manny Pacquiao, like I said, Bill, I'd be fighting today. I just love fighting. And I don't care who they put me in a ring with. And, the bottom line is, Manny still wants to have that burning passion and desire, and he's capable of continuing to do it on a path that's world class. Then fine,
right?
I give him the kudos and ability to do it. But bottom line is, he's got to be careful now, and he's got to choose his opponents in a sense where I think the only fight right now for him is Jeff Horn.
Well, yeah,
past Jeff Horn. And then see what happens then.
Right. That's the only fight. Because if he starts listen, he chose Jeff Horn and it didn't work out for him.
He chose Jeff Horn, Lou.
Jesse's got an email that says, "Hey, Billy C and Sal, will you be watching the Sammy versus Gio bout on Telemundo, and what will happen for the winner and loser?" Hold that thought, Jesse, because I will be breaking down that fight later in the show, and the answer is yes. I'm a big fan of Sammy Hurricane Valentin. I had the luxury of calling his Florida State Golden Glove championship fight, which landed him in the national finals. So big fan of Sammy and good friends with him and his father and mom. So, I will leave my biasness out as best I can. He says, "I found that the Unimas is no longer going to have boxing, and they usually have it every week. This is a major hit for boxing fans who watch this for free or this type of boxing, just regional." I listen, anytime a network drops its boxing program is not good for our sport, so I agree with you there, Jess. He says, "I read that David Benavidez would face Anthony Durrell. This should be a good test for David." Anything, thanks for the email, Jesse. Anything with a Durrell brother, any fight with a Durrell brother in, I'm sorry, but I have no interest in. I think the Durrell brothers, and more specifically, their camps, are bad for the sport. And I think the best thing that we could do for the sport of boxing is try to, get a little stricter with some of the outside the ring shenanigans that go on. And the reason I say that is because they are the face of the sport of boxing. And, the more stupid things that these guys do that gets publicized, boxing doesn't get enough press. The last thing we want is the only press to be talked about is the negative press. And, that's what seems to happen when a Durrell brother's name is associated with it. So, Joel says, "Hey, Billy C, with the announcement that Billy Joe Saunders will face Willie Monroe Jr. in London, on let's see, when is it? He doesn't have the date. He says that he'll fight in London. What are your and Sal's thoughts on Saunders actually fighting somebody that presents him a risk? Saunders has been incredibly cocky for someone who has only had one fight since defeating Andy Lee back in December 2015. I hope Sanders has his mother, father, and brother as the three judges that night, or you can expect to lose the belt. Interesting, too, that the fight is the same day as Canelo Triple G. You certainly didn't think he would face the winner of that, would he? Well, first and foremost, Willie Monroe Jr., I happen to have a Willie Monroe Jr. shirt on today. He's a tough out, and I think he will pose a test for Billy Joe Saunders, even though he's already a champion. But Billy Joe Saunders and that type of world champion who just has a belt and either outprices himself fighting someone real or just doesn't fight the real fights is exactly what's bad for boxing, Sal. And although Billy Joe Sanders, he's the famous guy that says, I'll fight anybody, just give me, 6.5 years to prepare. It
was 18 months last time.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But the truth of the matter is I don't think we need champions like that.
No, I think that's true too. You made me laugh, but I'll tell you, one of the last international bouts I had with the United States boxing team was before the '80 Olympics, and Bobby Ches was also a member of the team. We both went up to Canada, and we fought the Canadian national team, and I fought Davey Hilton Jr. and it was a great fight, and I had no excuses. Went in there. That's the one that, with my shoulder injury that kept me off the plane that went down in Warsaw, Poland. But I fought Davey Hilton. I thought I won the fight, and then the USA coach said, "Well, Sal, one of the reasons why you probably didn't get the decision, it was a split decision. I think I lost. See that woman over there, the judge?" I said, "Yes, that's Davey Hilton's mother."
She was one of the judges. You would think that would have been a little conflict of interest, but we got two more emails. We got two more emails I need to get through. First one's from Alex, and this one is to you. He says, "Hey, Sal had asked how the computer did 100 times with Pacquiao against Horn." He says, "I just tried to run it for him, but the game doesn't even have Jeff Horn in it." He says, "I'm going to reach out to the title bout people and see if they can add him so we could do this comparison," which is pretty comical. And that just goes to show you why everybody didn't give Jeff Horn much of a chance. One last email, and this is says this great show. He says, this is from my man Robert. He says, "Great show. This isn't Aram's first rodeo with setting up Manny Pacquiao for failure. History repeats itself over and over with this guy. Like any promoter, his bottom line is his pockets. This is why De La Hoya left him. This is why Cotto won't go back to him after he left Rock Nation. And this is why Floyd Mayweather called him a crook. Fortunately, he has a person in Pacquiao that has been extremely loyal to him. Too bad it's not vice versa. That's one way love, my friend. Regardless, I had Pacquiao win in that fight, but something itched at me, informing me something like this would happen. It was no surprise. Was it a robbery? No. Was the result surprising? Of course not. Aram knows that his best chances to score a win is by Pacquiao losing. I think if Pacquiao fights Terence Crawford or Errol Spence, it could end his career in a bad way. Considering the damage those two can inflict, Crawford versus Spence. Any takers? LOL, he says in parentheses. Why not lose to someone beatable and win the rematch? End his career on a high note. Also, look how bad he looked in that fight. His career is not going to get better from here on out. Both Cotto, De La Hoya, and of course Mayweather knew that Aram is a master manipulator. In my honest opinion, one of the best, if you can, he says, one of the best, period. If you or anyone can't see that, then I got a C&I dog for you and a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you, both real cheap. First of all, this is from Robert Pagan. He's a U.S. Army retired U.S. Army guy. And first and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Pagan for his service in the United States Army. We certainly appreciate your sacrifice. And I applaud people that make a career of the armed forces here in the United States and any place. But since we are Americans, I applaud it, and I thank you very much for taking not only time out of your life to serve for as a career, but taking some time in watching and listening to our show and being part of it by interacting. And this is obviously a response to our show yesterday, Sal, where I laid out my Bob Arum is a crook theory. And, I guess I'm not alone because my man, Mr. Pagan, thinks the same. And, he makes a great point. These are all, love him or hate him, Floyd Mayweather, that was the biggest reason that Floyd left Bob Arum. And, I also think that Floyd learned a valuable lesson by making sure that he wasn't going to get screwed again because of, the fights and fights that he was forced to fight with Bob Arum. Now, with that said, those were the last exciting fights Floyd was ever in, were the ones with Bob Arum, under Bob Arum's banner, but that's besides the point. But, so I guess my man wasn't surprised either. And, that's what I was trying to make the point to you yesterday. It makes financial sense for Bob Arum to have Manny Pacquiao lose a fight. Now, obviously, if Manny Pacquiao knocked out Jeff Horn, this would have not come into play. But I am not. I don't even think for a minute that Bob Arum didn't slip these guys a few extra bucks to score the close. All they have to do is agree to score the close rounds for Jeff Horn, and I think that's exactly what happened, Sal.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's a pretty good hypothesis. I just don't know if it would go that far under the table. It could very well have gone. I mean, in the 80s and 90s when we were boxing, in the inside track, you know it, you've heard it, I've said it before, everyone made fun. They thought the WBA stood for with Bob's approval. And, that's a funny acronym, but the truth of the matter is, Bob Arum, I'm sure, because he is a smart guy, he's been around forever in the fight game, I'm sure he had definite paths lined up for Pacquiao no matter which direction, who won. So that's why I have a hard time believing that there was something here. The fight was close, and I'm sure if Pacquiao won this fight, we'd be talking, or the accolades, and we'd be discussing who he's going to fight next. And Bob Arum would be already lining that up and talking things out there. So, it's like Larry Merchant used to do on HBO. He used to have a canned result for every fighter situation, whether the fighter lost or whether the fighter won. He would have like this whole dissertation that he'd spiel out as far as why this and everything else. I mean, called being prepared or preparedness, but it sounded too phony and fake for me. I'm just saying, Bob Arum being Bob Arum, I'm sure he had a scenario designed already for no matter what the end result was.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
I know.
Like I said yesterday.
It could very well be, Bill.
Well, like I said yesterday, if Manny Pacquiao wins, it's not like Bob Arum loses because he would have pushed Manny to either fight, Crawford or one of these other fights in his next fight. But if he would just be rolling the dice to whether Manny even continues. But by having Manny lose, or having it turn out as it did with Manny losing, well, that automatically. I mean, listen, Bob Arum knows Manny Pacquiao's mindset. And he knows damn well that Manny Pacquiao doesn't want to walk away from boxing right now on a losing note. So he just set himself up for at least one more big payday, and most likely two. So I like I said, Manny could have ended the fight if he, just put on a display that just could not be denied, but he didn't. So it was a close fight, and we all saw what the end result was. So it is what it is. But and speaking of Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, it was announced official yesterday that the WBO will indeed review the fight. But I don't see why. Because they said that although they are going to review the fight and they will review it with no audio, what a great idea that is, They said the decision will not be reversed. Well,
no.
The decision can't be reversed by a sanctioning body, only a commission. But here's the thing. What the WBO could do is order a rematch. Again, that falls under what Manny's final decision is. They can only order a rematch and say, well, Jeff Horn, if Manny doesn't retire, then you have to give him a rematch, which Manny already has to say in anyway. So it's really just a political ploy to do a whole lot of nothing. But their official quote was, we will appoint 5 anonymous competent judges from different countries to watch the bout without sound or any distraction. Then we will tabulate the results to ascertain clearly which rounds each fighter won using an average scale based on 60, 80, and 100%. This means that 3 of the 5 officials will have to agree to determine which fighter won the round. The purpose of this review is to be able to give the fans certainty of who was the winner of the bout, even though we don't have the power to reverse the decision of the judges based on discretion. And in this case, we do have a rematch clause already in the contract. My whole point is, what's the point? Why? My point is, what the hell's the point?
Bill, that's a good point.
Yeah, I know. I mean, what's the point? But anyway. Hey, Sal, hold that point and thought, because we're going to take a break. And actually, we're going to kick you to the curb for about 10 minutes because we're going to have Dax come on. He wants to talk. I'll give you a chance to, go eat some hot dogs, but, and drinks and chase him down with some coffee. But we are going to get Dax to come on, and he's going to give his thoughts on the World Boxing Super Series. So, Sal, head out into the Great White bathroom, and we will be talking to you a little bit later, my man.
See you later.
All right. That's Sal Rocky Senacola. Fear not, he'll be back. And speaking about being back, I'm taking a short break, and I'll be back.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us. And don't forget, hey, we air, if you're just tuning in, we air Monday through Friday, so make sure you check us out. And especially if you're watching on our experimental Facebook feed, don't forget, we are forced to only give you a one camera shot, and it's a cheesy one at that, on Facebook Live. If you want to see the full televised version of this show, the same version that goes out to the TV networks, just go visit our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/talkin, TALKIN, boxing, BOXING, or just watch the latest show up on BillyCBoxing.com. When we're live, we're airing it up there, and you can always catch the latest one on BillyCBoxing.com. Joining me right now, speaking of BillyCBoxing.com, is our number one writer on the site, my man Dax Khan. What's up, Dax?
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I wanted to get your thoughts on the World Boxing Super Series, something I love. And, I know you're going to have some thoughts on it, but no American fighters. I think only one, right? Rob Brandt, is he American?
Yes. I believe so, but, he's not a top name fighter from over here. But, the truth of the matter is that, I remember Richard Schaefer when he left Golden Boy, regardless of the circumstances, he said that, something, he's going to show everybody something, and he's doing that right now.
I think you're right. I like it. I loved it. I love the fact that the guys that are in this tournament all have something to risk. And I think it's alarming that there's not more U.S. fighters in there. What's your whole thoughts on everything, and what's the talk around social media?
Well, I'll tell you what's alarming here. What's alarming is the fact that without Floyd Mayweather, there is no boxing in this country that really anybody's going to tune into, regardless of what people will try and sell you. When you look at the less than 100,000 buys of Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev, two of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world, what does that tell you? Then when you look at the fact that over in the UK, that Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko, their pay-per-view sold more than actually Mayweather and Pacquiao sold over there. Just in Germany alone, they had 10 million viewers. So something, Europe is the place for boxing, and Richard Schaefer is taking advantage of that. And what he's doing here is taking these guys in a cruiserweight division that are very good fighters. They don't know about that division here. It's always been a lag division here, but that's a great division, and a lot of these guys are some great fighters the American fans don't know about. And what they're doing over there is they're just actually, it's almost like they're creating a whole new division, very much like the Super 6 was, because before that Super 6, in the super middleweight division, really, who paid attention to it? You had Joe Calzaghe, who was a megastar overseas, but then again, it was only overseas that division was paid attention to. Then, when he leaves, he retires or he jumps up to the 175-pound division, the Super 6 comes about, and then all these stars from here emerge. And that's what's going to happen with the cruiserweight division. But I will not be surprised if they continue to keep that division over there.
Well, to me, that's unfortunate because, and not only have I talked about this on air, but you and I have talked extensively about the cruiserweight division and how exciting it could be. And I still don't quite understand why the U.S. fans haven't accepted it. You're talking about 200-pound men who were definitely the heavyweight division of years gone by. Most of the time they're in shape. Most of the time they, display exceptional boxing skill from not only, boxing ability, but also punching power, So, I love the division. And I especially love the World Boxing Super Series because of the level of fighters that are in it. They're all risking undefeated records or even belts or I don't know if their belts are technically going to be on the line, but still, these are the top fighters in these two divisions, and I'm excited about it. And I also think that first section where the two top seed guys are going to get to pick their opponents, to me, that opens up a whole nother avenue, because if I'm an opponent, which incidentally are all good fighters in this tournament, and the top guy picks me, that's going to fire me up thinking, what, he thinks I'm an easy opponent? I don't know, man. I love the whole concept of the whole tournament.
Absolutely. The combined record, including when Arthur Abraham and Chris Eubank Jr. joined it, for everybody in that series, I believe it's 468-22 with 334 combined knockouts, 468 wins, 22 losses with 334 combined knockouts. Now, think about the talent that's in there. And so many of those guys are world champions. I think about at least 4 or 5 people in that division are undefeated. You have guys like, I believe Callum Smith has actually turned down his guaranteed world title opportunity against Anthony Durrell for that WBC vacant super middleweight belt to join this Super Series. And you have a lot of other champions going in there. Boxing can use a whole lot more of these, because what this does is it actually gets rid of a lot of the sanctioned body nonsense. It gets rid of a lot of these fans out there who are ignorant. And yes, I say 90% of boxing fans are beyond ignorant. They're stupid. It's embarrassing. I despise them. I really do, because they show on a daily basis how ignorant they are. And something, this right here eliminates the fact of, something, I don't know this guy, I don't know who this guy is, I don't know who this guy is. These are the same people that will say that Triple G has never fought anybody. His whole career is a padded career. They'll say that a Roman Gonzalez, who's he ever fought? Why? Because you don't know who the flyweight and super flyweight division is. Why? Because you're freaking stupid. You're ignorant. I think 90% of boxing fans, their families are inbreds.
Well, the big problem,
it's true, Bill. It's true. I'm so tired of the boxing fans. It makes me sick. This is why so many people have turned away from the sport. That's why boxing in America is dead, because you have this stupid internet mentality. This is why Richard Schaefer, irregardless of how you feel about what happened with Golden Boy Promotions, he was smart enough to go over to Europe, where something, they actually appreciate a fighter. Because a fighter has a loss, they're not a bum. And because a fighter didn't fight the guy that fan A and fan B and Johnny Jerkoff on Facebook or Twitter wanted him to fight, all of a sudden they're not cherry picking. They actually still believe in boxing over there like it used to be in this country. And you know what? I'm glad that this is happening over there, because to be honest with you, the Americans don't deserve it. If you can't even buy a pay-per-view with 2 of the top pound-for-pound fighters in boxing to 100,000 buys, but something, you'll go after something that's a gimmick match, then you know what? This isn't a sport for you. What you should be doing, as I've said before, be out there with bum fights. Just like that ignorant idiot inside the chat room is going to go, I could have went without one of his rants. It's guys like that this sport is dying in America.
Well, the problem is that they've bought into farces and smoke screens, and they go by the O and money that they make, and you're right. And it's a new generation of fan that just doesn't know. I tell you, I got all riled up the other day. I was talking to somebody about my book, and they punch it up, and they actually bought a copy right in front of me, and next thing I go, oh, look, you got a bad review. And I was like, what? I hadn't seen a bad review, and it was this guy that's saying that when he reads a book about a fighter, he wants to know all about them, how they live, this and that, and blah blah blah. And I'm saying to myself, what an ignorant idiot. I wrote everything that was available. They didn't keep records of slaves in the late 1700s and early 1800s. How am I going to know what this guy's ate for breakfast when he was 9 years old if no one ever wrote about it? And he's given me a negative rating because of that, and it just got to me. It got to me. But anyway.
And you can't tell anybody anything. You can't educate the public. It's one of the good things about, with Alex and the Blast from the Past, where he does educate people and tries to give them, a background of it. And, a lot of people, they really just can't even concept this in their mind. What they rather have is somebody walking around and acting like an idiot. The ones that sit there and criticize who these top names are and who they fight, something, it doesn't matter if some other guy goes around and he's slapping around a bunch of little kids and he's getting paid $15 million. But you know what? If his pants are sagging down, or, something, if he has a tattoo on his arm, or something, if he's sleeping with his sister inside the back of a Chevy, an American fan will sit there and love it and eat it up. And what you're going to have here is you're going to have the absolute cream of the crop that's sitting there, and they're facing each other, and then what's going to happen is the American fan is going to crap on it, and then the Europeans are going to capitalize on it, and Europe is slowly but surely taking over as the number one spot, not just England, all of Europe. And America, you know what it is, it's going to be nothing but a gimmick, and that's slowly what it's becoming. And something, something? That's what the American fans want. But meanwhile, over there, they're getting the last laugh, and deservedly so. And all we can do is just hope that they continue broadcasting what takes place over there, over here, because this is actually sensational. And the talent here combined is better than what the Super Six was. I promise you, overall.
One last question about this I wanted to ask you is, with this tournament, do you think that some of the fans will open their eyes to these two divisions, or will this tournament, because it does seemingly focus on fighters outside the U.S. Now, granted, most of the top fighters in both cruiserweight and super middleweight divisions are from the outside of the U.S. Do you think it will open up awareness to the fan base and to the fighters? Because I don't really see any U.S. fighters willing to get involved in this.
Why would you be willing to get involved? Why would you be willing to go over anywhere, even if it was here? Why would they be willing to get involved and face these guys when you know something? They can get paid six figures for fighting some guy on a PBC broadcast, a guy that, is pretty much a guaranteed win, a guy that has falsified medicals or something like that. Why would they? Because that's the mentality of boxing here. There are no more true fighters to heart out of the United States. You can name maybe 5. The rest of them are overseas. The rest of them are in South America. Jeff Horn, whether you like it or not, whatever took place down there, there's a guy, that type of mentality, those type of fighters, they don't exist here in the United States anymore, I'm sorry to say.
Well, that's a shame, and I had hoped that this tournament would open up awareness for both the cruiserweight and super middleweight division, specifically the cruiserweight division for me, because I love the division so much.
One last thing, something, it's not like this is a brand new concept. The boxing's biggest rival is who? It's the UFC. Not MMA as a whole, is the UFC. Dana White created this series, The Ultimate Fighter, many years ago. I think now it's in the 13th or 14th season. It's produced world champions. He brings his top names over into there. They fight in the main events of these cards. They produced a lot of big stars using this same type of style, as you said. You get, the winner of a fight or the 2 top names. When the tournament starts, they get to pick who they want to fight. And, it's helped that company grow. But you know what? Here in the United States, what do? You're getting guys with $500 billion, losing that inside of 2 seasons. You're getting guys over there in places like Rock Nation who can't even manage to promote an event. That's what you have here in America, because everybody's a know-it-all. Nobody wants to work hard. And you know what? That know-it-all mentality is failing hugely.
No doubt, my man. Well, listen, I appreciate your thoughts on the World Boxing Super Series, and I for one, can't wait for it. I hope we get to see it all, man. I hope we're not limited with the visibility of that in terms of airing.
Saturday, I believe, if they look onto our site, we have all the different press releases there. But on Saturday, around 5 o'clock on Eastern time, I know that they're going to have they're going to name the opening bracket in the first matchup, so everybody will be able to see that. And I believe on their website, they're going to air most of the series, so they're not trying to make it a pay-per-view type thing. They're trying to turn this into something phenomenal, and I think it will be.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to the first bracket, because I think the fighters that are involved in this, you got to admit, there aren't going to be any bad matchups, to be honest with you.
There's no bad fighters involved in it. There's not one bad fighter involved in it. But you know what? I tell you right now, I can't how many people watching and how many people on social media and stuff like that. Unless they go to BoxRec, they can't tell you who 90% of them are.
No, I know. And Stephen A. Smith knows none of them.
Yeah, one funny thing is Stephen A. Smith, when he talks about not knowing that one fighter that Jeff Horn faced. Now my mind is slipping, but he's actually no, it wasn't Rebecca. Who was it that Jeff Horn faced?
No, Jeff. I'll tell you. It was the 2 that he faced was the one was now I'm going blank. The one was washed up. He's fighting. He's fighting again.
Yes, that's what I'm laughing about, because he's actually fighting for a one of the minor division titles. And I'm saying, but gee, you have no idea who this guy is. And a couple days later, he's announced, into a pretty significant fight. So that tells you exactly what Stephen A. Smith knows. But maybe even Stephen A. Smith, at least he doesn't go out there and go on BoxRec and pretend he knows something, or go into a chat room or go onto Twitter and pretend he's an expert. But you know what? He's never come out of his pocket with $11 to even go to a club show. That's the U.S. fighter mentality.
Yeah.
The fan mentality, not the fighter mentality.
My man,
they know more about the hot dog eating contest and that freaking little skinny white guy that ate 72 hot dogs and how much calcium or sodium is in a hot dog than they know about boxing, and that's a fact.
New Rose just helped us both. That Ali Fanica is the guy who's. So anyway, all right, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
That's Dax Khan giving us his thoughts on the tournament that's taken place, the World Boxing Super Series, in the seeds are going to be announced over the weekend, and that's a good thing. But in the cruiserweight division and super middleweight divisions, love the tournament concept and love the fact that it's happening. And the other issue we had somebody bring up in our chat room, Kevin brings up that guys like Floyd Mayweather, and I've said this before, they've basically ruined the sport of boxing. And before you flip out, I'll tell you why. A lot of young fans that may have been influenced by following the sport for whatever reason, because of Floyd Mayweather, their perception of the sport is skewed. They think that the what's equal to quality is an undefeated record, and they also think that what's equals quality is the amount of money a fighter makes. And that's all Floyd Mayweather. The thing that bothers me the most is when a young fan will say to me, yeah, but they can't touch Floyd. He's so good defensively, Billy C. That's the sweet science. And I have to correct them. No, that's not the sweet science. The definition of the sweet science is hit and not get hit. But the rest of that statement is you got to be to inflict damage on your opponent. Floyd Mayweather is, but he's not able. Too far fighter of all time. I'm sorry. You may have a stand that he's one of the best of his own era for various reasons, but like I've stated yesterday, despite Manny Pacquiao losing this past weekend, I for one, and I'm saying this now because in all due respect to both Floyd and Manny, I wait 5 years until after they retire before I position them as an all-time great or in my pound-for-pound list. But if I had to make that decision today, despite losing to Floyd, I would have Manny Pacquiao ahead of Floyd. And the reason is because of the excitement level and what he brought to the sport of boxing. I say this to people all the time. If I mention a fighter's name and ask you to close your eyes and mention a fighter's name, automatically fights will pop into your head. If you do it right now and I say Marvin Hagler, I say Tommy Hearns, I say Mike Tyson, I say Sugar Ray Leonard, go back and further, Jack Dempsey, or Rocky Marciano. The list goes on and on. All these great, even Arturo Gatti or Boom Boom Mancini, all these great, Muhammad Ali, all these great fights pop into your mind. I mentioned the name Floyd Mayweather. What great fight pops in your mind? If you're going to tell me a Corrales fight, you're going back a decade. He's just not an exciting fighter. He's been successful as far as wins and losses. He's been extremely successful as far as dollars and cents. But excitement level, not so much. Back with me now, my man Sal, Rocky Senecola. I mentioned Floyd Mayweather. What pops in your mind there, Sally?
Well, I'll tell you, Pilgrim. Like you were saying, Floyd Mayweather, for this era, or for his era, he's done a lot. And he's accumulated all those wins. I'd like to see Alex Perpali put in his boxing machine there, his little fight stat machine, how Floyd would have done that.
It's not a fight stat machine. What
is it called?
It's
what is
called.
It?
It's called the title.
Monopoly?
Wait, what do you expect in this magical box? Hey, Alex Papel, he's got the magical the fight box.
Magical boxing
Punch in a couple
machine?
of names and spits out the winner. It's like the man behind the curtain, Alex Papel. No, it's not.
It's
a game. It's the Title Bout Championship computer game.
There you go. Title Bout Championship.
It's a simulation game, and anyone can get a copy. All they got to do is go to our website. It's easy. Go to our website and click on the banner. I highly recommend it. You know, come on. It's not a magical box. Are you going to write a song? Mama's got a squeeze box she wears on her chest, and it's called the Title Bout Championship game? Come on, man.
Title Bout Championship is where it goes best.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on.
And you know what? I would like to go do that title boxing championship. I'd like to see how Floyd Mayweather would have fared against a Sugar Ray Leonard, a Roberto Duran, a Marvin Hagler, and a Tommy Hearns. I don't think he gets the majority of wins out of those fights 100 times.
Floyd Mayweather doesn't beat any of those four guys.
Floyd,
if there was a time machine, if there was a time machine right now, I guarantee I would bet my life on it.
I know
that Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, and Roberto Duran all beat Floyd Mayweather easily in a fight.
What do you think I brought those four names up for?
I'm going to throw another name. I'm going to throw another name out there. Floyd Mayweather Sr. would have kicked the crap out of Jr. if they fought both in their prime. And the reason why I say that is because Floyd Mayweather Sr. had some pop. Floyd Jr. does not. And the same defensive skill Sr. had that Floyd has, and the difference between the two is that Floyd Jr. has no pop. And the big difference between the two, Sal, is Floyd Sr. fought everybody that was available to him. Jr. has not.
Correct. Yes. Well, and anyway, Floyd Sr. was
now that I can't. Now that my blood pressure's up so high, I can't even have another hot dog. Let's
come on, you're still on the hot dogs? How come they never started a hamburger contest, a hamburger eating contest? They could have invited Wimpy from Popeye.
Yeah, they should have. White Castle should do that.
White Castle, yes, with the little onions infused into the burger meat.
Well, we don't know.
How many burgers? How many White Castle? You could eat I could eat 5 right now.
Well, more than that. But listen,
you get heartburn.
The thing is,
you get heartburn. Those onions, man, they gave me heartburn all the time. I ate a White Castle.
I'll tell you what gave you heartburn. That you hit it right. You said the White Castle meat, because that's a mystery meat. Nobody knows that. McDonald's and Wendy's and all the other.
You couldn't get that meat out of a can of Spam.
They say that's right. There's less meat in that than there is in a can of Spam. But Spam. What exactly is Spam? It's like, hey, will we stop promoting these jabronis?
We're doing a lot of promotion today.
Anyway, listen. I got some more stuff to talk about. Speaking of quality fighters, Guillermo Rigondeaux, who happens to be maybe one of the most avoided fighters in boxing today, and he is a guy that I would honestly say is a great definition of the sweet science. He's a hard guy to hit, and he inflicts damage on you all while he's standing right in front of you, 2 feet away, and you still can't hit the guy. I challenge Floyd Mayweather to do that. But apparently the WBA has ordered the rematch between Rigondeaux and Flores, Moises Flores, the fight that ended in controversy. So they have until at the end of the month, I think, or actually 30 days since yesterday, to make this happen. So we'll keep our eyes on that. And speaking of the WBA, they also set the rematch for Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares, deadline to July 11th. So these guys have to have an agreement. Otherwise, they will go to purse bid beginning July 21st. So we'll see what happens with that one. Also, in WBA, more WBA news.
Is this all with Bob's approval?
The bantamweight champ for the WBA, Jamie McDonald, and Librario Solis have reached an agreement to have their rematch, and they avoided the purse bid that was out. So we will be waiting to hear when this date and location has been set. They have a time limit of another week or two before signed contracts have to be submitted to the WBA, which means they have to have the date and location. So at least we got some good fights being forced to happen, Sal.
Yes, we do, and that's the way we squeeze it to the top. But I'll tell you, it's good. I'll tell you, 2017 has not been too much of a disappointment. We've been seeing some good fights. We've been seeing some fighters challenge themselves, and some fighters rise to the occasion. And so it's a, like I said all along, it's a reboot of boxing, and hopefully we'll get it on the world stage and keep the fans coming back and develop some new young fans. I mean, I've got to applaud even the ESPN series. They're giving us some good free fights, and I think we have a couple to look forward to over the next 2 months.
You know, I can't help but, when I saw the comment in the chat room about Floyd Mayweather ruining the sport of boxing, and it's something I've said many times, and I'm curious to hear all of you guys and your thoughts. Do you think Floyd Mayweather has helped or hurt the sport of boxing and the path it's taken over the last decade, specifically with, concerning Floyd Mayweather? Dax Khan was on and was very vocal about the fan base today and a lot of their interest in following a guy like Floyd Mayweather. And, like I've always said, I mean, the facts are the facts. Floyd Mayweather sells. People buy his fights. And whether they're buying them because they like that style of fight, which I can't see. I mean, who the hell wants to fall asleep during a fight? Or are they buying it to watch him lose? I don't know. Are they buying it for another reason? My question to you, and I ask you to email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. Email me your thoughts. Do you think Floyd Mayweather has hurt or helped boxing? I'm dying to hear from you. Drop me an email. Hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, I got a little preview on some fights that are scheduled this weekend, and I'm going to break down the one that I'm looking forward to. And I'll give you our predictions. All of that is coming up in about 2 minutes, so don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening. My partner in crime and Sal, limited weekend of boxing in Russia. And every time you mention Russia, just get ready for some crazy stuff to go down. But Denis Ledebev is taking on Mark Flanagan. And, you know, he's in the cruiserweight division. He's the WBA cruiserweight champ. And ironically enough, he's the only big name in the WBA. Forget the WBA. He's the only big name in the cruiserweight division that's not part of this World Boxing Super Series. And, you know, I think he's a guy on the downswing, but he is exciting to watch. I just wish, you know, he was fighting more outside of Russia because, let's face it, some funky stuff goes on in the country of Russia.
All countries, I'll tell you, even our country, we got some funky stuff with this, with these decisions and points and judges. But yes, you are correct. Russia, and I'll tell you, with their history of supplemental enhancements of elevation to superhuman strength and all these other things, you know, there's a whole history going back from the original blood doping.
Well, I can't help but think. Remember the Olympics, like in the 70s and early 80s. You see those Russian women. They look, you know, they come. You wouldn't want to. I don't even want to say anything bad in case one lives around here. You know, they might come and kick my ass. But another fight that's taking place is Hughie Fury returns to the ring in London tomorrow night. As we all had heard last week, it was signed, sealed, and delivered that Hughie Fury will indeed be getting his world title shot against Joseph Parker on September 23rd in England. So this is just a tune-up fight. So I'm not expecting them to put Hughie Fury in very tough at all. But the big fight this week, as far as I'm concerned, is on tonight on the Telemundo channel between two young fighters who are both undefeated, and they're risking the cherry-picking maneuvering road to titles that seem to be the norm today, and they're bucking the trend. Hurricane Sammy Valentin and Giovanni Santillon they're fighting each other. Both are good fighters. Giovanni's 21-0 with 18 knockouts, and Hurricane Sammy is 12-0 with 9 knockouts. The fight is taking place in Tampa, where Hurricane Sammy resides. I'll give you a little breakdown. Giovanni Santillon is ranked number 79 in the world at welterweight. He's 25 years old. He's 5'8", and he's a southpaw. His level of opposition has been pretty impressive, at least from 2015 on. He fought. You can go all the way back to the middle of 2014. He fought a 7-1 guy. And then Luis Solis, 15-4 in 2014. Then in 2015, all fighters with impressive records: 9-1, 10-2, 16-5, 18-5, 23-9, 18-3, respectively, winning them all. Like I said, the computer has him ranked at 79. Now, Hurricane Sammy, you know, I'm more inclined to root for him, only because I know him and his family personally. The computer ranks Hurricane Sammy at 117. But ironically enough, the WBO has him ranked in their top 10 at number 9.
Wow.
Which I find amusing because the computer rankings are generally pretty accurate. from a world stage, and the sanctioning bodies not so much, because consider this: Manny Pacquiao, who just lost his world title. Now, as you guys know, most of the time, at least 90% plus of the time, if a fighter has a belt in one of the sanctioning bodies, they typically are not ranked in any other sanctioning body. So I don't believe we get a true representation of the rankings of the fighters and where their ranking is. But consider this: Manny Pacquiao, who just lost his title to Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn, of course, becomes the WBO title holder, and Manny Pacquiao is ranked number 1 in the WBO and not ranked at all in the top 12 of any other sanctioning body, which I find ridiculous. Even despite the fact that Manny's not what he used to be, he's still definitely a top fighter in the division. So to not have him ranked is absurd. But anyway, Sammy Valentin, he too is a southpaw, and he's 23 years old. He's got 12 wins with 9 coming by knockout. And to be honest with you, Hurricane Sammy, the only fight that you could really say he was not in tough was his, and I don't even know if you can say it, his pro debut was against an 0-1 guy. And when you're 0-0 fighting an 0-1 guy, that's not so much. Yeah, that's not so much being in easy. As a matter of fact, he's only, of his 12 fights, he's only been in 2 where the fighters had losing records. That first fight, which was an 0-1 guy, and the second fight in which he was in with a 4-19 guy. But even 4-19, as terrible as it sounds, it's a guy with 23 professional fights fighting a kid who's got 1 professional fight. So the experience level is there, and it showed because Hurricane only won that fight via a 4-round decision. The rest of his fights, including his last 2, have been against top opposition. Luis Flores, 22-6, and Jesus Alvarez Rodriguez, 15-1. Both of the fights that he fought this year, and he knocked both of these guys out in the first round. I think this is going to be an extremely entertaining fight. And to be honest with you, Sal, I'm picking Hurricane Sammy to continue his assault on the welterweight division. And should he get by Giovanni Santillon this weekend, I think it's going to catapult him maybe for not the better, because I don't want to see them rush this kid.
No, and I agree, because I remember when I was with you, we did see him fight the Golden Gloves in Florida, and we were ringside, and he was a good talent to keep our eyes on. This guy really had some fine tools back then, and to see him being brought along right now, early in his career, I think he's very much destined for good things to come.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward.
He's got some great skills, and I remember we sat down and he talked to him. He seems like a real nice young man, and I wish him all the best of luck. And I'll tell you, he's going to do well. I think he's going to do very well.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to him. I love his mom and pops. They have dedicated pretty much their lives to help Sammy, and Hurricane Sammy's on the way up, and he's in tough again tonight. So make sure you tune into that fight. He's definitely a guy to keep an eye on for sure, Sal.
Absolutely. Well, I hope we could talk about a good result for him next week.
Yeah, coming on Monday. And speaking of next week, I guess we're going to head towards that, because this week, with the exception of all the Manny Pacquiao, Jeff Horn talk, it's been a relatively slow week in the sport of boxing. One thing I want to reflect on is Manny Pacquiao, Jeff Horn. I do hope they have a rematch. I will stand by 2 comments I made earlier in the week. Number 1, Manny Pacquiao is definitely not the same fighter. Should consider hanging him up, but I would like to see him hang him up with a belt. So I would like to see him exercise the rematch against Jeff Horn. I think the result will be different. And the second thing I want to reiterate is my theory with Bob Arum. I still believe that Bob Arum had a hand in this decision. Unfortunately, I know it's not good for the sport to make that kind of accusation, but it looks pretty obvious to me, and I hope we can continue upward. And like Sal says, we got some good fights that we can look forward to this year. And one other thing I just want to mention, I'm extremely disappointed in the turnout, not only for the gate, but also the pay-per-view numbers for the Sergey Kovalev-Andre Ward rematch. And it just goes to show you that neither one of these guys can draw too well, especially Andre Ward, who thinks he's another Floyd Mayweather when it comes to the gate and the money generation power. And I think it's pretty obvious when you look throughout the history of Andre Ward, he just can't draw. And this guy needs to tone it down a bit. He's way overrated in his own mind. Any final thoughts, Sal?
No, I think we'll definitely pick it up next week. I thought we had some great debates about the Pacquiao fight, and like I said, I think it'll do himself good service and prepare and fight Jeff Horn for a rematch and see what happens then. Like I said, I saw that fight. I watched it 3 times, Bill, and when I scored the sub-rounds, each round in 3 sections, I still had Manny winning by 1 point. But when I saw that fight without even keeping score, I watched that fight without even keeping score and with the volume off. And I will tell you, I saw Jeff Horn winning that fight when I didn't have the score card to look at, and when I saw I didn't have the influence, I saw Jeff Horn winning that fight. But when I scored it in sub-rounds, I had Manny Pacquiao winning. Just want to leave you with that.
Yeah, no. Well, listen, everybody, have a great weekend. And, again, I hope everyone plays it safe, and we'll look forward to you on Monday. So enjoy your weekend, and make sure you tune it in right here. Same bat time, same bat channel on Monday morning. Until then, ciao, baby.